What's going on, my crazy 76er fanatics? Thanks for stopping back in for another daily pod with your daily 76er discourse. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you leave a comment or two, we read more than a few, guys. We read all of your comments. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, guys. And today's conversation, we're talking about the newly released NBA schedule that many NBA Twitter fans, many NBA 76er fans are saying the Sixers have one of the worst schedules released. And I just don't agree, guys. I just don't agree. But we're going to highlight some of these key games for this 76er squad. One of the biggest and most important games for me is their first road trip out west, December 28th, when they face the best. They face OKC, the defending, reigning NBA champions, on the road in their home stadium. And that's going to be a huge game for Sixer fans, a huge game for the Sixer team to figure out, is this team a contender or a pretender? Can they match up with one of the best squads in the NBA? Do they have the defensive ability to stop Shea Gilly and that high-power offense from scoring? And do they have the offensive capability to go bucket for bucket with an MVP, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren? That's a very important game to see how successful this team's going to be throughout the entire season. But a game that's also important follows that game, consequently, December 30th, 12:30 at Memphis. Again, you go from playing a guaranteed contender in the OKC Thunder to playing a considerably a pretender in the Memphis Grizzlies. You're not sure how good Memphis is going to be, but in two trips out west, you want to make sure this trip and this road trip goes the best. If the Sixers can walk away 2-0, 2-0 against OKC and Memphis, that is the best possible scenario for this squad to not only prove that they are a real contender in this league, but to also show that this team can compete with the East and the West. Because the Eastern Conference is the Leastern Conference, and we can talk about that a little later. You want the Sixers to be and feel like the beast in the conference. But out west is the best. If you can just knock down some of these Western Conference teams, you can prove that not only is this Sixer squad ready to compete, but they're able to compete with anybody. Those are two road trips I'm excited to see. Hopefully they go 2-0. Realistically, they split them, maybe losing one to OKC, winning one against the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll wait and see what happens. But another important road trip or another important matchup against a Western Conference team, March 3rd against the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I'm not saying the Spurs are a contender, but guys, let's not forget the last time Victor Wembanyama and Joel Embiid faced off against each other, Joel gave him 70 points. Joel gave Victor Wembanyama 70 points the last time they played, and I'm sure Victor never forgot because Sixer fans remember. Spurs fan remembers. Joel Embiid never forgot. And that's a matchup that is going to be must-see TV because it's also going to be played on NBC. If Joel shows up and suits up and Victor's there as well, this is going to be a big man battle for the ages. And hopefully, this is another key matchup for this season and another key matchup for this squad to show how good, how comfortable, how healthy, and how consistent can Joel be. Because again, this is a guy who, when he was healthy, scored 70 points against this squad. If he is considerably healthy, close to healthy, he should get another 35 to a 40-point game against Victor Wembanyama. I'm excited to see what that matchup holds and how that matchup is. But let's move out to the East for a second and talk about the opening matchup against the Celtics. That is another tough test because apparently Joel and Paul George won't be ready for the season opener, won't be ready for training camp. So who on this squad will be ready for battle? Who on this squad will be ready for a test? Luckily, the test isn't the toughest because you're facing the newly depleted, newly acquired Boston Celtics team who doesn't have Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, even Al Horford. It's a brand new squad, guys. So this is basically a head-to-head matchup with two teams that I would consider to be equally matched up. A Sixers who are kind of depleted, a Celtics team who depleted itself in the offseason. That's going to be a huge matchup to see if this Sixers squad without Joel Embiid, without Paul George, is even any good. But going back out to a huge matchup that matter, guys, Joker versus Joel. A matchup we haven't got to see much recently, and a matchup we are absolutely due for. Joker versus Joel, March 17th. I mean, every time Joel plays Joker, he's giving like 30, 40, dominating the guy. But every time Joker plays anyone else, he's shown why he's a real MVP, a real phenomenal big man, and one of the best of all time. That matchup is always to determine who is the real big. The Battle of the Bigs, March 17th, Denver, Sixers. I'm excited to see it, guys. And a matchup we all have to be excited to see. When the Sixers face the Knicks, that's going to determine the real beast in the East. The Knicks have a brand new head coach. The Sixers have a newly acquired players and a new foundation. I want to see Tyrese Maxey go up against Jalen Brunson. I want to see Jalen Brunson, who's arguably always in the MVP conversation, go up against a Tyrese Maxey who should be in the MVP conversation. That right there is going to be a huge matchup, a huge game, and those matchups may also happen in the playoffs. So those games matter, guys. Those are a few key games this season. Games that you don't want to miss, and games that you're a huge basketball fan, you don't want to miss the greatness of Joel Embiid while he still has potential to be great. What's not so great, guys, the amount of back-to-backs the Sixers have this season. The amount of back-to-backs the Sixers have this season are tied for the most back-to-backs of any team this season. They have 16 back-to-back games this season. Many Sixer fans are saying, the NBA hates us. Adam Silver hates us. And I just want to say, guys, I did my research so you don't have to. Yes, the Sixers are tied for the most back-to-back games this season. But if you look at the amount of back-to-back games they play versus teams they play on the back-to-back, it's 16 to 18. Yes, the Sixers play 16 B2Bs, but they face 18 opponents coming off of a B2B facing Philadelphia, which is the best case scenario. If teams are tired, worn down, exhausted, and uninterested on a back-to-back, that could be 18 easy, coastable games for that Philadelphia 76ers squad. That could be at least 12 winnable games for that Philadelphia 76ers squad because you do want to win at least 2/3 of every back-to-back matchup your opponents have against you. If they can win 2/3 of those matchups, you're looking at a Philadelphia 76ers squad who's winning 12 games off rip just based off strength of schedule. Now, the problem with the back-to-backs, Joel don't play those. Last season, Joel said, I think I'm done playing back-to-backs in my career. And then he went out there to play a few back-to-backs last year. We don't know what he's going to play, but we can assume that if his health is the biggest priority this season, he won't be playing in those 16 matchups that the Sixer fans are stressed about, which also could be okay because you have 18 matchups of opponents on back-to-backs playing your squad. As long as they win more than a few, as long as they win more than two, the Sixer squad is going to be great. Because Adam Silver hooked them up with one of the best schedules. Because again, guys, outside of the 16 back-to-backs they do play, they also don't travel out west until basically the new year. Their first Western Conference road game is in December, late December, basically early January. This team has a lot of time to get rested before they get tested. I'm excited for this schedule. I think Adam Silver cooked up one of the best for this Philadelphia 76ers team. And the back-to-backs could be a problem because Joel doesn't play them. You can't expect Paul George to play them, but you can expect these young guards, young stars, young power forwards to be extremely useful in these back-to-back matchups. How will the young players be used? Extremely heavily in the rotation for these back-to-back matchups and for the games that Joel and Paul George miss. I'm talking about Adem Bona, who many say has one of the best shot blocking abilities in the NBA out of the centers still playing. Adem Bona is going to be used extremely heavily, maybe as a starter, extremely heavily guaranteed in the rotation. And maybe Adem Bona finds himself a 30-minute per game player when Joel sits. He could be used as a premier piece to give the Sixers some center help and some defensive capability. They're lacking. They're lacking huge rim protection with Andre Drummond. Truthfully, they're lacking rim protection with Joel Embiid. And honestly, they're lacking rim protection with Johnny Brown, who has the shortest and lowest vertical out of the draft class. Adem Bona will be used and could be used as a cornerstone for this defense and for this center position, not only for this year, but for the future. On top of that, guys, Jared McCain is going to be used as a bona fide bucket getter because that's the only thing, guys, he is good for. Defensively, Jared McCain does not have the chops to get the stops. But offensively, Jared McCain is going to drop down those three-point shots. He's going to initiate the offense. He's going to move without the ball. And if you're comparing Jared McCain's offensive play to any other player in the NBA, some say he's baby Steph. Some say he's baby Steph, and he's not baby Steph, and he's baby Steph. He's got that Curry in him because that jump shot is fire. Jared McCain, guys, expect him to bring the pain on the offensive end and hopefully play competitive defense on the other side of the ball, guys. These young guys are going to be used heavily this year, especially because of the back-to-back, because of the schedule, and because of the questionable health of this team. But what if Maxey gets injured? I mean, we expect Joel and Paul George going through their ups and downs this season, but no one's talking about what if Tyrese Maxey gets injured? What is the prospect? What is the expectation of this team, guys? Luckily, and I say this with my fingers crossed and high hopes in my voice, luckily and hopefully, Jared McCain can bring the pain as a true point guard. Luckily and hopefully, Quentin Grimes, whose bird rights belong to the Philadelphia 76ers, will re-sign and then play some on-ball point guard position. Will also play some on-ball initiator and can also play off the ball. We're lucky here, guys. As a Philadelphia 76ers fan, you guys and we are all lucky that Jared McCain and Quentin Grimes can play on ball and off the ball. They can knock down threes and they can attack the rim. They've got good touch at the rim and they've got a better touch outside the perimeter. If Tyrese Maxey gets injured, fingers crossed this team can still compete because they've got young guys with a lot of potential, a lot of upside, who when they did get the usage, when Maxey was injured before, McCain stepped up. When Maxey and McCain was injured before, Grimes stepped up. If Maxey gets injured, somebody is going to have to step up, and this team is young enough, hungry enough, and has a lot of up-and-coming stars in that point guard, shooting guard position that if Maxey gets injured, this team may still be able to compete. If Maxey's injured, if Joel is injured, if Paul George is injured, maybe throw the season away, guys. I'm not sure how good that team is without those three guys, but if we lose one or two, I think the team could still win a few considerably competitive games. But you still have McCain, you still got Grimes, you got a gosh darn Bona, and you still have a Paul George who has yet to play at Paul George level. Guys, I'm excited for this season. I've given you more than a few reasons. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below because we got more Philadelphia 76ers discourse on the daily. Thanks for stopping in.